Hello everyone, Dan Hendriksen here at Torquay Golf Club. Today I've got a real golf video for you. We've recently been at Wallasey Golf Club and we were joined by Alex Evans. Alex had a shot into the second hole, which I'll show you that video just in a moment, and he had around 140 yards into that hole and he wanted to take a little bit off the shot because he had a slightly in to win shot, so he wanted to get a little bit more control over his ball flight. So I thought I'd bring my brother Paul in today to have a little chat about what he would do in that situation and why Alex went for that shot that he went for. Let's show you that shot and let's go and catch up with Paul. You've hit what I would call a little bomber. Yeah. 132. You've 32. Done everyone by about 30 or 40 yards. They're out.
Thank you.
All right.
Doesn't matter. It's this one that counts. So 132 flat.
Slightly. I had it slightly into on my shot.
Yeah. There's got to be 10 of wind. 132, 142.
Yeah.
140. I'm going to play a 145 shot with a 9-iron.
Okay.
Just because I think that's going to climb a little bit more, so play a little bit longer yardage.
You doing anything different? You going to try and knock it down, or are you just going to play it normal?
No, I'm not going to try and knock it down. Just take a little bit off. So yeah. Full out 9-iron for me is 155. So just play a 145 shot. Just take 10 yards off.
Yeah, nice. Should take a little bit of spin off of it, so it shouldn't climb as much for him. Proper crisp fairways and get a good bit of spin. It's definitely climbing up just up the right hand side. Is it coming down? That's all right. Yeah, it did. It climbed a lot, and there's a lot of wind up there.
Stuck underneath.
Like I say, these fairways are so tight, you can get so much spin off them, can't you?
Just got stuck underneath it. It's my bad move.
So just talk us through what Alex was actually trying to do on that particular shot there into the second pool.
So he had a shot that was slightly into wind.
Yeah.
And from what I gather, he didn't want to hit it flat out, the shot, which then obviously adds height to the shot and adds spin to the shot. So okay. He, from what I remember, he was trying to take a bit of spin and a bit of height and trajectory off of the shot. So he elected to hit a softer shot with maybe one more club than what he normally would hit to try and bring those numbers down.
Okay. And ultimately he did achieve it. Okay, came up a couple of yards short, didn't he? But what he did and the flight that we saw from what he did with his shot, I mean, he pretty much got what he was trying to achieve, didn't he?
Yeah, I think if he'd have tried to hit it flat out, he would have... You can get lucky and it can go through the wind, but majority of the time it's going to get up in the wind and it's more subject to problems up there. So I think he took the right shot, definitely, in the end. So what I thought we'd get Paul to do today is hit some shots for us, talk us through kind of what he does from a normal shot, and then what he would do differently to maybe take that 10 yards off that particular shot that Al hit. I'll also give you some shot traces, and we're also going to go back into the studio and get a few numbers and give you some real data as to what would actually happen to the golf ball, maybe from a spin and peak out height and even ball speed and clubhead speed on it. So let's give you some more details on that with Paul. So we're going to hit a couple of shots from you just as standard, Paul. We're going to see what the numbers give us from what we got inside as well, but also we'll be able to give some ball flight sort of ideas from the shot tracer from there. So just a standard 9-iron for Paul. So that's a standard shot. So that's going at full power. Yeah. And what are you looking to try and get from your 9-iron as an average yardage? About 140, 142, something like that.
That's what your normal numbers are?
Yeah.
Okay, so let's now hit the shorter shot, and just talk us through what you're going to do maybe slightly differently in that shot that might be able to hit it down, should we say, sure. take the yardage off of it.
So what I'm looking to try and do is reduce my clubhead speed. Yeah. So when I do this normally, I try and take about 10 yards off. So ideally I'm trying to hit my 9-iron, my wedge distance. That's how it's doing, and that being the carry.
Yeah.
So what I try and do is just try and knock a bit of club head speed off to give me those numbers, and I will do that by just shortening my swing back and forth, a bit like we did on the pitching video, if anyone remembers that. We were just basically limiting the amount of swing both back and forward.
Yeah.
And that tends to give me those numbers.
From a setup point of view, ball position, width of stance, stuff like that, does that change at all?
Pretty much stays the same.
Yeah.
You can grip down and up, but I've noticed it doesn't really do much to the distance. You probably take 1 or 2 yards off by gripping down, so
which slows the club head speed slightly.
It does
down?
a little bit, but it's not enough.
Not enough to really work on that 10 yards.
Yeah, so I tend to kind of hold it in the same place, but I'm just basically shortening back, shortening through, just to take off what's about 10 yards really.
Okay. Good. So really, it's just a shorter swing on the way back, and then kind of like a shorter swing on the way through, just to feel like you're taking a little bit of speed off.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that's what I do. You know, everyone does things slightly different.
Yeah.
Like we said in the pitching video, some people regulate it on the way through. I was regulating on the way back. So people do things differently, but that's the way I do it. And I think the key to it is in simplifying it is being able to hit a 9-iron, a wedge distance for the carry, and automatically that will reduce your height, and it will reduce the spin numbers. That will give you pretty much a punch shot, or a shot that's taking a bit of distance off of it.
Well, let's actually now look at the numbers that we got earlier on in the studio.
Yeah.
So just going with the numbers that we got from what you got in the studio, we got your standard 9-iron here down the bottom.
Yeah.
And then we've got your 9-iron where you're trying to hit it less 10 yards based on what Alex has done. If I just take you over to the ball data to start us off with, your standard 9-iron averaging 139, okay, around the sort of 140 mark, just that couple of drop-offs there, but for the most part, 140, 139 is your standard average yardage, which is pretty much what you said. Then the 10 yards less, I mean, you've nailed it. You've got it at 130.
Yeah.
So you've got it absolutely spot on. Now let's look at the differences what has happened to that flight. You are peaking out at 35 yards with a normal shot, and you've lowered it, so you've brought it down to 28 yards high.
7 yards difference.
So 7 yards difference. If I just run you across the page here over to launch angle, you're 23.7 degrees of your launch angle with your standard 9-iron compared to 22.4 with the taking off the 10 yards one. So you've come out a little bit.
It's just a little bit
lower, isn't it? If we then look at the spin, so I'm going to bring you back over to spin, you go 8.2 in your spin with a standard 9-iron, and you've brought it right down to 7.3. So you've taken off 900 revs.
Yeah.
So when Al was talking about his shot and trying to keep it out of the wind a little bit, well, he's done it, hasn't he? By lowering the ball flight, by taking spin off, that wind is not going to affect that ball quite as much as in to rise it up in the air. If we then go to ball speed, which is over on the far left-hand side here, 108 with your standard compared to 99, 100 mile an hour. So you've lost 8 mile an hour in your ball speed. If we actually look at clubhead speed, you've reduced it from 89 mile an hour to 82 mile an hour.
And that's the key, because that's the number you can control is the clubhead speed. That's really the biggest control you have over it. So it's by dropping it 7 mile an hour with the same club, that's what's giving you the different launch angles. It's giving you the different spin rates.
Absolutely.
That's the important bit.
What other options could people have to be able to do this?
To what, hit it less?
Yeah, to hit that 10-yard gap a little bit less. Is there any other options that people could go with other than trying to slow their swing down? Because that's a skill. That takes a bit of time, doesn't it, to get that right? Is there anything else they could do to hit it just that little bit less?
You could maybe play a fade as opposed to a draw, let's say. That would take a bit off.
Okay.
Or the other option is to hit the same club, but just try and gamble up in the wind and let the wind take the distance off of it. But that's risky.
That's risky.
Yeah.
So actually, those mastering this type of shot is probably going to be the best option for them, isn't it?
I think it's quite an easy way to do it, but what I would say is you need to practice that shot a lot, because when you start slowing down your swing and you start swinging it shorter, your body will function slightly differently. So for me, when I take a bit of distance off the shot, I feel like I've got to work my body quicker in the rotation, because if I do my normal swing that I put on a full swing, it just tends to go left. So I have to then work my body a little bit harder to stop it from going left, which is something I've just noticed over the years of practicing that shot. So,
and it's just practice that's working that out. Yeah, absolutely. So there's just a simple way that you can start to learn to manage your ball flight, certainly when you're playing into wind. There's lots of different types of ways in which you can do it. There's just one way that Paul's explained how you can control that ball flight into wind, get that little bit flatter flight, take the spin off the shot, and definitely giving you more control. Let me know though, put your comments down below. I'd like to hear what you think about it. How do you play this particular shot? Don't forget, if you are new to the channel and you like what you're seeing, hit that subscribe button, and we'll see you all again very soon.